A story of mistakes, forgiveness, and healing, a true family journey. My name is Ava, I'm 46 years old, and I never imagined my life would take such a turn in the story. I'm about to share a sim like anything you've heard before. Stick around until the end of the video, because I have a surprise for you. Let's get started. From the outside, everyone would say I had a perfect life. My husband, Henry, was a successful business in the finance industry, where I'd been married for 18 years, and people saw us as the ideal couple, but no one could see the mess hiding beneath that perfect image. Over the past few years, Henry had become a workaholic, and our relationship had grown colder. Our conversations rarely went beyond daily routings. I started feeling a deep loneliness in my marriage, constantly longing for the passionate days of our really years. Everything changed when Jason, my stepson from Henry's first marriage, moved in with us. At the age of 25, Jason had recently completed his master's degree. He decided to stay with us for a few months to start fresh in his career. This quiet, introverted young man brought a new energy to our home. Mason had a sensitivity I hadn't seen in a long time. Every conversation with him felt like he truly listened to me. Around same time, Henry's nephew, Adam Camino, is going to stay with us for a few weeks. Adam Weasley, a few years younger than Jason Buffett, a completely different personality, was lively, witty, and bold. His carefree attitude and constant efforts to make me laugh sparked something inside me. One evening, when Henry was away on a business trip, Jason, Adam and his dad in the living room after dinner, having drinks and chatting. Adam was sharing childhood stories and teasing Jason, when he suddenly turned to me and said, "Ava, I didn't know you were such a great listener. Talking to you feels so comforting." In that moment I felt a warmth I hadn't experienced in a long time. As the night went on, our conversation grew deeper. Jason started sharing his frustrations and mistakes from the past, saying he had always wanted someone to inspire him in life. His eyes locked with mine. I couldn't hide the flutter in my chest, and the days that followed I found myself spending more time with Jason, and Jason's thoughtful nature and Adam's endless efforts to make me laugh made me feel young and alive again. But deep down it also left me feeling conflicted. One day, while Adam was cooking in the kitchen, an unexpected moment of closeness occurred between us, and our eyes met. The tension was undeniable. Similarly, during the quiet afternoon alone with Jason, I felt the weight of the emotions in his gaze. I didn't know where these tangled connections were heading, but I could feel them growing stronger with each passing day. While I was experiencing those moments, my mind was in constant turmoil. On one hand, I knew these feelings were wrong, but on the other hand, I couldn't suppress the desires growing inside me. I felt torn between Jason's quite sensitive and thoughtful nature and Adam's fun, bold, and passionate personality, but with each passing day I felt freer and more elevated in their presence. One afternoon, we were alone at home. After suggested we have a barbecue in the garden, when we went to the side, Jason joined us. As the three of us spent time together, I felt more relaxed than ever before. Adam kept making jokes to make me laugh, while Jason deepened our conversations in a calm and meaningful way. At that moment I realized something. Both of them touched me in different ways. With Jason, I felt an emotional connection I hadn't experienced in a long time. Talking to him pushed me to rediscover a part of myself I'd lost years ago. Adam, on the other hand, was completely different. His bold, energetic attitude excited me and reminded me of the fun and passion missing from. As I navigated the tumultuous waters of my emotions, it became clear that I was reluctant to choose. Both Jason and Adam presented me with everything I had longed for. One offered me deep peace and connection, while the other brought uncontrolled angst and passion. I felt it was unfair to force myself to choose between these two men. That night, when we were alone with Jason and Adam, I knew I couldn't hide any more. I need to confess something I began. As they both looked at me carefully, my heart was racing. What I'm about to say may surprise you, but every moment I spend with you both makes me feel reborn. Jason, talking to you gives me a sense of deep peace. Adam, you're reminding me how to live life to the fullest. I want to be with both of you at the same time. At my confession, both often fell silent as my eyes shifted from one to the other. I tried to suppress the tension inside me. After a while, Jason took a deep breath and quietly said, "I'm not sure how this will affect yous, but to be honest I feel the same way Adam with this usual laid-back attitude added life I's lived once right maybe we need to step outside of some rules. Hearing this he felt a sense of relief inside me. There was nothing left to hide. That night a new chapter of my life began. I didn't know where this would lead, but one thing was certain, I could never go back to me old life. The bond when it formed with Jason and Adam made me feel stronger than I had ever felt before. That night Jason, Adam, and I were sitting in that living room opening bottles of wine. It was one of those evenings when Henry was away on a business trip, and after days of building tension having a few glasses of wine seemed like a good idea. As we filled our glasses, Adam played a song. Melody echoed through the room and the atmosphere was growing warmer. At first our conversation was innocent, wedded about life, the future, and armories, but after a few glasses our conversation deepened. Adam turned to me quietly and said, "Ava." Talking to eyes always kept nodding. It's like time stops. His words surprised me for a moment, but at the same time, they made my heart race. Jason agreed with Adam's words, saying, "You're right, Ava. I always feel comfortable around you. It's like all the weight of the past to support." Sincerity in his eyes made his words even more meaningful. In those warm expressions I felt the bond between the three of us intensify in an instant. After a while Adam stood up and turned up the music. "After all this drinking we can't just sit, we should dance," he said, extending his hand to me. I smiled slightly, took his hand, and we began to dance. Adam's playful and relaxed movements may mellow, but at the same time his touch sparked a feeling inside me I hadn't felt in a long time. After watching us for a while, Jason slowly walked over. "Toes, you can't forget about me while having so much fun," he said, placing his hand on my waist, and began dancing with him in front of Adam. Between the two men, movements felt like a game. A damn chance held mine gently but confidently, howled Jason, as touch was calmer, beautifully powerful. At that moment I felt emotions I had been holding inside it for a long time come to the surface. A stance slowed down. Jason leaned toward my face and looked into my eyes. His closeness completely captivated me. At the same time, Adam was behind me, leaning into my neck, his breath brushing against me. Between the three of us a closeness had formed that words could not describe. As the rhythm of the Sonia code in the living room, our movements become slower and more meaningful. Just saw gently ran his fingers through my hair. Adam placed his hands on my waist, pulling me gently toward him. These moments were so intense they couldn't be described with words. It was as if that three of us had disappeared into themament, disconnected from time and space. The effect of the wine made us exchange bolder glances. Jason for a moment slowly took my hand and brought it to his lips. Gesture mesmerized me. Then Adam, looking at my face, said, "Ava, I'll never forget this moment." That night, between touches and glances, we felt the complete erasure of our physical and emotional boundaries. Ease every move deep, and the band between us. In the darkness we were telling a story to each other, us anything but our touches. That night, as the wine glasses emptied, the atmosphere of aim even more intimate. When the song slowly came to an end, all that could be heard in the living room was the sound of our breaths, the silence on my intern side, the tension between us. Jason looked at me with a slight smile and said, "What makes this night special isn't just the one." The sincerity in his eyes made me realize once again that what I was feeling wasn't one-sided. Adam moved it toward the couch and gestured for me. "Toss it next to him, Ava. I think we've needed a night like this for a long time. Honestly, every moment I spend with Yodi asks me to love life again," he said, the seriousness in his voice revealed true feelings behind his usual playful demeanor. As I sat on the couch, Jason was right next to me. Together three of us sat in silence, feeling like others' presence. Adam reached out and gently touched my face. "I don't understand how someone as beautiful as I who could ever feel lonely," he said. His words seemed to open up a wound that had been festering inside me for a long time. Moving even closer, said, "But you're not alone anymore. We're here." His tone was so soft and sincere that I was struggling to hold back the tears that were welling up in my eyes. In that moment, the presence of these two men was giving me everything I need above passion and connection. The bond between us was growing stronger with every passing moment. Jason held my hand, gently squeezing it in his palms, while Adam softly stroked my hair from behind. This moment wasn't just about physical closeness. The connection between the three of you seemed to be built on a deep understanding and harmony. After a while, Jason let out a light laugh and said, "I think we need to open another bottle of wine to make this night unforgettable." Dumb replied, "No need for wine. I think we're already drunk enough." His playful tone made us all laugh, but at the same time we all knew exactly what he meant. As I leaned back on the couch and causing me eyes, I felt Adam's warm breath on my neck. At the same time, Jason, as hands gently but confidently touched mine, the combined touches from both sides recreating an indescribable wave of happiness. and excitement inside me that night, every move, every glance expressive passion and connection. We felt for each other. I didn't know where the bond between the three of us would be in that moment. I had surrendered to what he was feeling. For the first time in my life I felt completely free, and at the same time more at home than I ever had before that night. The wine bottles weary emptied, the music stopped, but the bond between us grew stronger with every passing minute. After hours of conversations, laughter and touches, that three of us finally collapsed onto that couch. As I closed my eyes and tried to study my breath, there was an indescribable peace inside me. I had my deadly boldest decision of my life, but at the same time, I had experienced the happiest night I could remember. The things I felt with Jason and Adam, cemento of a long missing part of me. I had never felt so free, so alive, and so at peace of my desires. As the first light of morning filled the room, Jason and Adam were already asleep. Watching them, I felt no trace of regret. On the contrary, that night had marked a turning point for me. In that moment I realized how only I had felt in the past, how suppressed dreams had consumed me. For the first time in my life I was completely myself. I whispered to myself, this night was just the beginning. Barrel story starts now. I close my eyes thinking about what the new day would bring, Henry's return home, and how the special bond between Jason, Adam, and I would continue. These thoughts swirled in my mind, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. As silence of the night slowly gave way to the dawn, the warmth in the room still lingered. Having Jason and Adam by my side made me realize how much my life had become routine, how many things I had sacrificed, but tonight it felt like I had regained some of what I had lost. Adam slightly opened his eyes and looked at me. Ava, this night was like a dream, but I think I don't want this dream tone, he said. His voice echoed the deep connection that lingered from the night. This words reignited a spark within the. Jason slowly came up behind me and placed his hand on my shoulder. A dance right, this night was just the beginning. Seeing you like this, getting to know they're all Ava is a privilege, she said. His words along with the warmth of his hand in my shoulder made my heart race. The effect of the wine and the atmosphere off moment had completely overwhelmed my notions. Our closeness had reached a point of no return. Adam reached out to touch my face, looking into my eyes. Douching you, feeling you, this is one of most beautiful things I've ever experienced. Jason stood behind Adam, never taking his eyes off me. His deep gaze and the slight smile on his face made me feel that the bond between us was growing even stronger. Adam took a step closer and ran his hand through my hair. At the same time, Jason's Sam wandered along my back, and in that moment I completely lost myself between the two of them. Amid the touches I felt as if everything was unfolding with an artistic harmony. Jason and Adam's movements were perfectly in sync, each touch, each breath intensifying the atmosphere in the room. The light reflecting from the wine bottle matted Jason's hand on my waist and Adam's fingers on my face stand out even more. In those moments the voice inside me kept whispering that this was one of the most unforgettable moments of my life. Deep connection we shared went by in physical bound or ease. It was a reflection of understanding and harmony. What followed that night was so deep it couldn't be conveyed with words. The passion, love, and bond we shared were expressed through touches, glances, and movements. Everything unfolded in a natural flow. For now, I want to end this story here. The continuation of this story is even more beautiful and exciting. If you'd like to hear more of me special moments, please subscribe. I'm sure you'll love the second part.